How we all doing, folks? Welcome back to the Red Lotus podcast. I am your host, Sean, and with me, as always, is my bratty little sister, Monica.
Every time.
And today we got a very special guest.
Very special to you, indeed.
He is a professor at the University of Toronto. His best-selling book, 12 Rules for... I'm just kidding.
You wish we could get him.
I wish. Wouldn't it be amazing if we had Jordan Peterson on our third podcast?
We would have to know him personally for that.
I was actually just listening to him.
Were you really?
Yeah. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. I was just listening to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's how I discovered him. Well, anyways, let me introduce you for real, Mike. So this is my best friend from high school, Mike Occhi. Currently lives in Ohio with his fiance.
Not yet.
And what's that?
Not fiance yet.
Oh, my bad. Girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna edit that out,
right?
right?
Did Sean ruin something?
Uh-oh.
No, she's not here. She's at school right now, so she doesn't hear us.
Okay.
That's good. It's my bad, guys.
Sean might have spilled the beans on something.
I might have.
Nah.
May not have. I don't know. I think I'm just projecting, given what happened to me in the summer.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, anyways, I believe you're a financial analyst. Is that correct?
No, not analyst. I'm just in the wealth management, but not an analyst.
Wealth management.
Oh, my gosh. You need to explain that because I have no idea what that means.
Well, it's just like, so a financial analyst is like it's like, so an analyst will just analyze companies' financial statements and stuff like that. I'm more of like, the retirement aspect of it. So like we'll deal with people's money and we'll put them in a portfolio and so they can retire when they're 60 or whatever they want, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay,
that's kind of what it's
so like 401k stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
IRAs, Roth IRAs, stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you work more with people?
Well, you just got a new job too, right?
What?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I started on the 19th. But it's basically just training and stuff right now, which is kind of annoying.
Gotcha.
But it kind of sucks because
no,
I'm working from home. They sent me like 2 monitors, like a router, desktop, all that stuff. So it's kind of
make sure nothing crashes.
Annoying, yeah. But I can still log in on my laptop though, but it only works like with their system, which is annoying. But
that's annoying. Yeah, can't even use it for your own personal fun. What the hell?
No. Yeah. I mean, I wish we were in the office. I'd rather go into the office than be at home. You know what I mean?
Do you work at a bank or like an office?
No, it'll be like it'll just be like an office like that.
Okay.
Like cubicle type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not like in a bank.
No, but my last job, I was in like a branch where there was like 7 people in there, and then we're closed now, and we just got bought out by another company, so everyone got laid off last week.
Was it like a small bank?
No, it wasn't real. It was so TD Ameritrade wasn't a bank. It's the same thing as what I'm doing now.
TD Ameritrade.
But
gotcha.
Well, actually, all my coworkers just got laid off last week because
Oof.
we got bought out by Charles Schwab.
No way.
So that's kind of why I took this job, because I didn't want to just wait around and then I get laid off and then I have to look for another job. So I got this. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it just in case. And then my manager called me last week. He's like, hey, Mike, you made the right decision. They basically just laid off everybody in our office.
Wow.
So
you got lucky.
But yeah. But I was kind of...
So who do you work for now, or are you not allowed to say?
No, I work for JP Morgan now.
Oh, so does everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone that we know, at least.
Yeah, it's huge. JP Morgan's
it's a giant company. So
it's like them and Bank of America.
Yeah.
Pretty much owned it.
Well, like all of our like financial friends that live in New York, Sean, they all work with JP Morgan basically. I think a couple of them work for like Chase, but mostly JP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, Chase is part of JP Morgan.
It's the same.
JP Morgan Chase.
I mean, there are different names. Like some people have the JP Morgan name, and then some have the Chase name. But
it's
JP Morgan bought Chase. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Procter and Gamble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How they own like everything. I don't even know anymore at this point, but they own everything.
Yeah.
So why Ohio?
Why did I come out here?
No. Yeah. Why'd you go there?
Girlfriend. Well, she's going to Ohio State to get her PhD. So instead of doing the medicinal chemistry, she wants to like make drugs or design drugs, which is above my pay grade. but I have no idea what she's talking about.
I assume she's doing some. I mean, I know I'm a science person, so I assume she's doing some thesis. Do you know, or a dissertation? I assume since she's PhD. Do you know what she's studying currently?
Well, she had her candidacy exam, so she's doing like her thing was like anti-malaria, so she wants to like design something that could cure malaria. But it's not like she just had to propose like an idea, whatever. They had to create it on their own and then present it. And then now she's just doing like research about what her boss wants her to do, but it involves like malaria and antibacterial resistance stuff. So
yeah, interesting.
But I can't grasp my.
You can't do more than that. That's your basic knowledge, and that's where we stop.
Yeah, that's all I got. Because I don't know, like
fine.
I was never good at science. That was like my one thing, like especially chemistry. I was never like I was like, what's going on here?
It's okay. I do science and I can't even do chemistry.
Yeah.
So
chemistry's fun.
Chemistry
it's
is
like
not fun.
math, but with symbols.
No, chemistry is
with
not
letters
fun.
instead of numbers. I like chemistry. I actually did really well in chemistry, and I'm not the best science
high school
person
chemistry
either.
is different. I did fine in chemistry too in high school,
guess.
and then you get to college and you're like, what does this mean?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, you had to take Orgo, right?
I did have
And
to take Orgo.
Everybody fails that.
Yeah, it's a hard class to do well.
Even Mom failed Orgo, right?
I think Mom said she did kind of poor considering. Next semester I have to take biochem for my major now, so that's fun.
Yeah, science was never my forte.
So did you guys hear that? I heard this was a myth, but I heard that malaria has killed half of every human that's ever lived.
Is it really?
Could be.
Yeah, I think that's a myth, though. I don't think that's actually true.
Yeah, I don't really believe it, but
that's pretty insane.
I do know that.
Well, we did come out of Africa.
Especially in Africa.
What I do know that in Africa, it's more common to see sickle cell anemia because that actually protects you against malaria. So that's why it's very common in a lot of African countries. That's as much as I know.
But like, there's malaria in Southeast Asia as well, and like, I mean, you know, half the world population lives there right now. So
yeah,
who's to say?
I think we have a different virus that's a little bigger going on right now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, malaria is more deadly, though.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure. But you can live with it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think they have medicine and stuff from. Like, I don't know a thing about malaria.
They do. They have some.
Maybe we should have your girlfriend on next time, and we can have a little discussion about malaria.
Yeah. Well, I think they don't really have the best, you know, doctors and supplies down there, so that's probably why.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's still a lot of. There's still a lot of reliance on foreign aid as well. Yeah. But like these African countries are advancing pretty rapidly, so some of these places are actually growing at rapid rates. So they might have like a better quality of life in a couple of years.
Yeah,
the way things are going.
Yeah, they're doing fine out there.
Like Rwanda, surprisingly, is like the fastest growing economy in the region right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it came out of that genocide and just started growing, you know. So
good really for something. Them. They deserve it.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys hear about that plan that they have? Like, I think it's Rwanda, Tanzania, and 4 other nations are trying to form something called the East African Union, and they're trying to base it off of like how America organizes itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gonna. They're projecting that like it could become a superpower in like 30, 40 years.
I did not know about this, but
the growth rate going on in that part of the world, and its location as a hub of international trade. It's possible. The thing is, though, like I think the Tanzanian president isn't really the best kind of person right now, like as far as like negotiating and stuff goes. So things have been because they were projecting that they were going to unite in 2022, and like it's 2020 already. I don't know. I saw one video on this on YouTube.
And now you're the expert.
I don't really know how things are going. Yeah, now I'm an expert. Yeah, that's how things go.
That's how YouTube's worked, right? You know, you just watch one thing and then you know it all.
Yeah. Watch one
that's how
video,
people like to think. No, that's interesting though. I don't know much about malaria besides the things I know genetically, but that's not really helpful when you're trying to create a drug against it. So I recommend your girlfriend.
Yeah.
She knows more than I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we moved out there because of that, and then now we're looking at another 2.5, 3 years out here. Which is a little...
Because her PhD is like a 5-6 year program.
Yeah. So
what's your plans afterwards?
We'll move back home to New Jersey I mean, because all the the Pfizer's and Johnson, they're all like on 206 or whatever. So
for what
we'll
she
probably
wants to do.
move back. Yeah.
Plus,
I mean,
like the
plus the families, right at home. So it's like,
did you meet in undergrad?
It's like the pharmaceutical mecca.
Yeah, we met at college and undergrad. Yeah.
Okay.
Keene University, right?
Yep. Good old
Local
Keene.
college.
Yeah.
Yo, tell that story about your landlord.
What?
I think people got to hear what happened with this.
Which one? The junior?
The one that that Jewish guy that was like screwing you guys.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll give you the rundown. So all the guys, we had like, how many guys? We had 1, 2, 3, 5 guys. We wanted to get a house after.
Guys?
Yeah, I wanted to get a house after sophomore year. So we're looking. We found one with all of them. So we go to visit it. I mean, when we go, so this is the first house. This is not the house that lost power. This is the house before that. But it's the same year. So we go to that house in like late July. We walk in. I mean, it looks like it's been abandoned for like 100 years. There's a hole in the kitchen ceiling, like a giant hole in the kitchen ceiling, like going up to the top floor. So we're like, what the hell's, what's this? So then Jeff goes, oh yeah, we'll that'll be fixed by the time you guys moved in. I was like, all right, whatever. Go upstairs. Like, it just looked disgusting. The whole the basement, like the heater or the radiator, whatever it is, the furnace, it looked like it was from 1930. Like it was like rusted and whatnot. So then like a couple weeks go by, nothing's fixed. So then my roommate at the time, Tyler, we call his mom's boyfriend, who's like a contractor, like he like renovates house, like he does that type of stuff. So he comes in and looks at it. Like within like 5 minutes, he's like, all right, like this house is going to be condemned. You guys can't live here. So, and this is like 2 weeks. This is probably like not even 2 weeks. This is probably like a week before like classes start, and we need a house and baseball starts. So we literally need to like live somewhere. So we call Jeff over and we're like, Jeff, what is this? Like you promised us this, blah, blah. So he's like, all right, like, he's like, my bad. Like, I'll give you guys another house. So he gives us the house that we lived in, which is actually like, it wasn't a bad house. It was a nice house. I mean, it was, like 3, 4 bedrooms, had a big living room, had like a dining room per se, like a little like middle room, kitchen, stove, the whole nine. But the problem is we had the original lease for that first house. So basically what Jeff did was he like whited out the lease, so it was an invalid lease. So the whole first semester up until January, everything's good. January comes, everything's still good. Obviously it's freezing out. We go on our trip to California. Was it California? No, it was Puerto Rico. We go on our trip to Puerto Rico for like a week and a half, spring break trip for baseball. We come back and the power's off.
Oh my God.
So then we're like, well, why is the power off? But there was a storm the night before, so that's what we thought. And then when we called PSE&G or whoever our supplier was there, they said, no, like your power shut off because the bill hasn't been paid. And we're like, we never even got a bill. Jeff never supplied us with a bill for like the months that we were living there. We assumed that it was taken care of, which is kind of stupid on our part, but that's besides the point. But so we contact Jeff. It's like, Jeff, the power's out. Our food in the fridge is all whatever. And he's like, oh, well, we'll come over to the office and we'll figure this out. So we go to the office, and then he doesn't even have the lease. He doesn't even know where it is at this point. So then we're like, all right. So we call PSE&G again, and they were basically saying like, okay, like we're gonna bring the lease in, blah blah. But then we had to get a new lease. We had to like write up a new lease. So then the one roommate we had, he dropped out of college, so he wasn't living there anymore, and he owed Jeff like the 3 previous months of rent that he just never gave him. So in order to do a new lease, the kid's name was DJ. DJ had to pay the 3 previous months, and he didn't want to do that. So we couldn't get a new lease to turn on the power until DJ paid. So he didn't want to pay because Jeff promised us that we were going to get like fire alarms and all this stuff. We were going to get all this stuff, and he never did on any of that. So DJ was like, I'm not going to pay. So then this is like in the middle of winter. It's like 10 degrees outside every day. And we have no heat. We have hot water, but we have no heat, no nothing. So then, like, we just kind of just at this point, it's like March, and we're like, you know what? Screw it. We're not even gonna deal with this guy anymore. And he keeps. I still have the voicemails on my old phone of like him calling me. He's like, Mike, I need the money. We got to figure this out. All this stuff. And then like, but the thing was like he was so stupid. Like he was like it was almost like something was wrong with him because like we'd be sitting in the house in the freezing cold, and like he just come in there and just sit down and hang out with us. He'll be like, oh, so how was baseball? How you guys doing? Like, what's going on with it? Like, it's like how some landlords are like, I need the money now or you're out, type of thing. He just let us hang out there for like, so like I say, like he sucked as a landlord and he did obviously, but like he wasn't like, I just think he was dumb. So like months go by, and by the way, months go by and we didn't even clean out the fridge. So me and my friend one day were like, all right, we got to clean this fridge out. The house stinks. So we go to CVS. And those like Febreze like powders that the carpet cleaners and like the cans. We got like 3 of those. We open up the fridge. Oh my god. It's the worst smelling thing ever. At this point, 26 years in my life, it's the worst smell I ever smelled in my life. And like the whole house is it just stinks. Like the Costco Kirkland hamburgers? We had like it comes in like a pack of like 18.
Yeah. They're like the first ones.
That was in there before, and I hadn't had a burger. We like took it out, and it smushed down to like 3 inches worth of just meat, and it was just disgusting. God. Like, so we cleaned it out. We put it in a garbage bag, and we just threw it out in the backyard. The whole house stunk, and like it was just.
I wish I had known this at the time, but I didn't understand this. But if you had left the house as soon as he said, like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do any of this stuff," then you could have claimed constructive eviction in court. It was basically like he wasn't providing you with the things that you basically needed to survive in that house.
Yeah, and I know, but like we had baseball, so we couldn't we had class, and then we'd have baseball for 4 hours, and then we have class again. So we were just busy all day. So it was like, so what we did, like I slept in my car a couple nights when it was like really cold. I would just turn on the heat and just like put a blanket in the back, and it'd be warm in there. I mean, I'd be fine, but like obviously, you don't want to be sleeping in your car. But the thing was that we weren't paying rent. So from January, February, March, April, May, June, we didn't pay rent at all. So we basically we saved how much money? It was like I think it was like $600 a person. So you see $600 for 5 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but you could have like stopped paying rent. You all could have left the house, went back to your parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then sued him in court for like not providing.
Well, that was the thing.
Warranty of habitability.
The thing was like we kind of like had to stay there because we had baseball.
Yeah, you need to be.
So what happened was,
yeah.
And then towards the end, when it was like in May, and we were going home, we went to regionals, for the regional tournament, and then we had a court date in the middle of it, and like somebody went. It was like a health inspector that was like on our side. He was like a health inspector or whatever. I forget what it was, but he was like part of the state also. And he was like in court. So he knew Jeff was going to show up. So he went. So Jeff showed up because we weren't going to be there. So that shows like, oh, like, it's kind of saying like, oh, the kids aren't even there. So it just shows who's right and who's wrong type of thing. But the health inspector was there waiting for him. And he's like, no, this guy's an asshole, all this stuff. So the judge kicked Jeff out of the courtroom, so like we didn't have to pay him anything. Everything was good, and we just took our stuff out and we just left. But I mean, it was kind of sucked because like I wasted the semester. You know what I mean? Like we weren't able to do anything.
Yeah, but it's like not a fun time to be living in the cold.
Yeah, but we had a generator that we bought. We all pitched in for, and we got, and we only used that for like the living room. So we had the TV plugged in. We had like a space heater. So like during the day when we were there, we'd just turn on the generator and then we just hang out in that room and it'd be warm and whatnot. But then we got that's why the health inspector ended up coming, because the generator's loud and the neighbors were like, why is there a generator on? You know what I mean? Yeah. So they called on us, and then we told that guy everything. Like, he's not giving us the lease, can't get the power on, all that stuff. But it was interesting. It was very, very interesting.
like your entire junior year too, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the second semester, really.
Yeah.
But,
Well, you learn from that. I mean, always have a copy of the lease, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it was I really like I mean, if that never happened and like we had power or whatnot, I would have lived there my senior year also. I mean, it was a nice house. We liked it. I mean, everything was good with it. But
other than the hole in the wall, right?
no, that was
That's
the first house. Yeah,
that was the other one. Yeah. My bad.
That house was disgusting. Like that, I don't even know what we were thinking. I have no idea what we were thinking.
Like saying yes to that. That first lease.
But we assume that like you never really deal with a landlord like that. Usually landlords are like, they might screw you over a little bit, but like not that much.
Yeah.
So we thought that he was gonna like get that fixed and all that stuff. He's like, I got a guy coming this week. He's got a whole team. They're gonna fix all this stuff. It'll be brand new. So we're like, all right, like whatever. Like we'll take your word for it. And then like, yeah. I mean, it was fun though. That's a story to tell.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Yeah. Because we were like, so we're thinking of moving to the current apartment where we are now to somewhere else, and then like so we were looking, and then one of the people that were showing us like the new apartments, they're like, oh, I hope you guys don't mind not having granite countertops. I was like, granite countertops? Like I lived in a house for 6 months without power in the middle of winter. You think I care about granite countertops? Like so it just shows it just shows you like I don't really need all the bells and whistles as long as there's power, as long as the appliances work, you know what I mean? As long as like washer, dryer work, shower works, hot water, I don't really care that much.
Yeah, you just want the essentials.
Yeah, I just want like whatever it says in the lease. Like I want those things to work. That's it. I don't need like a button to come out of the wall and like I have another basement leading to like a, you know what I mean? Like I just want the things to work.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But
it's so much cheaper in Columbus too, right?
What was that?
I said it's so much cheaper in Columbus too, right?
Yeah. So right now, as we are, we're in a 2-bedroom apartment. We have a washer, dryer, balcony, and it's like $800 a month.
Not bad.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's not bad at all.
It's like
I'm paying $2,000 for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah,
like
for
nothing.
real.
And we were even just to like look. We were looking at like Manhattan apartments. Like 1-bedrooms are like $5,000 a month. It's like what the?
Yeah.
Yeah, through the roof.
Crazy.
It was like people live in closets in Manhattan.
I don't know how they afford that. Like obviously you make more in Manhattan than you would here, but like I still don't get like.
Well, the quality of life is not that great with the kind of money you make. Yeah. That's why I'm out.
Yeah, Sean, have you started looking for Arizona?
What's that?
Have you started looking for Arizona? What's the prices there?
Yeah. So I'm getting a lot of apartments there that are between the price of $800 and $1,200 for a 1-bedroom, which is already half the price that I'm paying right now for a 1-bedroom.
What do you mean Arizona? You're going to Arizona?
I'm going to Arizona.
Sean, didn't you tell him?
You didn't tell me you were going to Arizona, Sean?
I thought I did. I told everybody.
No, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to Tempe.
When?
Which is right outside of Phoenix.
When are you going? And what?
January.
And what for?
Just to get a fresh start, man. Gotta get away from the city. I mean, that shit was serious after my breakup. It's like I couldn't even go into the city without thinking about her, and it's like the association is just too heavy with like
I know
that part of my life. So
that'll kill you.
That's fair. And
not
you
to
don't
be not to be like personal or anything, but have you like talked to her at all since then or no?
No, not once. I have no interest in ever
It's the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
But
man.
Yep.
But yeah, Monica, I also do not like the cold. I've been looking to get away
you're
from
a bad
the
Russian
for a while now. Yeah, not the best.
Yeah, you're not going to get any type of cold in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like 100
chilly
degrees
at night,
to the state.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, at night it'll get maybe in like the 60s or something.
Yeah,
but
that's cold apparently.
Yeah, well, I can chill my windbreaker. I love my windbreaker, so it's all good.
I don't know how you
when we get merch, it's going to be windbreakers, dude.
I don't know how you
Has
do
to be.
it.
Yeah.
I started sweating in like the 70s.
Yeah, I was doing it in the summer. It was like 100 degrees outside. I was wearing a windbreaker.
And it's like, at least there it's dry heat, so you can probably handle it a little better. But like here, it's like 100 degrees. It's humid. It's nasty. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I couldn't do the heat. Like I like the heat when it's summer for like a couple months, but then I'm like, all right, I don't want to keep sweating.
That's how I feel. That's why I like being here.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, I'm a lizard.
Have you guys had your first snow yet up in Ohio, actually? Since you're by the lake? No? Okay,
today,
Boston snowed. Boston snowed.
Well, he's not really by the lake. I mean,
close enough.
he's
2 hours.
Hours south
2 hours away.
They still get
but it doesn't really like snow. Like it snows here, so like during the winter, it'll snow like almost like it'll snow like 3 days a week, but it's like a quarter of an inch.
Yeah,
so it's not. We don't get like snows. Like every now and then we'll get like 2 or 3 inches, but then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we get like up in Boston, we get the strong snows. Like we just had our first snow on Friday.
Really?
It was a couple inches. Very pretty. Very early. We usually don't get a snow till November, but it was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's October. Shouldn't you guys be enjoying those New England leaves right now?
We have both. It's like you see the trees are orange and red, and then on the ground there's like white snow. It's very weird.
That's New England for you.
I mean, like upstate New York gets stuff even earlier. I'm sure they already had some stuff early October.
Well, they are by the lake.
Yeah.
Or, what, by Ontario or something? Lake Ontario?
Yeah.
And Lake Erie.
Yeah. And I know like the Midwest, some of the Midwest states have already gotten some snow.
Yeah, I like having seasons.
You do or don't?
Mike, you ever been to Niagara Falls?
No, we were going to go when we were still in New Jersey. We were going to drive up there.
Pretty amazing.
But
yeah, it's really nice.
Did you go to the...
Just thinking about it right now because we're...
Did you go to the Canada side or the U.S. side?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
I mean...
I guess you could just...
Well, Monica, I think we went when we were kids, and then
did.
I also went recently with... Yeah.
Yeah, we went both when we were kids as well. We saw both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanna take a trip somewhere, but with the COVID,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, you can still go on the American side.
Yeah.
That's where the ferries are, right? Like the ferries on the American side, so you can
They're on both sides.
Go right up to the falls.
They're on both sides.
That's true. Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, it's like one side has like an elevator that goes straight down to the bottom of the cliffs, and the other side has like a monorail thing or whatever.
Yep. But yeah, they have stuff on both sides. You can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to go. I don't know how far it is from here. Probably
a couple hours.
Same,
I don't think it's that far.
Same distances from New York, I think.
I think it's a little closer.
What, Columbus to Niagara Falls?
Yeah, I think it's a little closer.
Let's see. I'm gonna Google Maps this right now.
Really?
I mean, well, yeah, because it's like you have no idea how big some of these states are.
Yes, I do, Sean.
I mean? Like New York.
Yeah,
huh?
Yes, I do, Sean. I do know how big all these states are. I go visit my friends up there, college, upstate New York. It takes 4 hours to get there.
Yeah.
And they're like...
Oh, wait, I can't Google Maps anything right now because I'm on airplane mode.
Yeah.
We're flying right now.
Oh, my God.
So how's everything in Hillsborough, Sean, with the COVID?
Sean, how's everything in Hillsborough?
With the COVID?
Because I know states are starting to close down
on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been talk about closing down again because winter's coming, and I think a lot of people think that the virus is more susceptible to colder conditions.
They're mostly worried about flu season up here.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot more people got the flu shot.
Yeah, I mean, they required it at my university. That's like a new Massachusetts thing.
I wonder how many anti-vaxxers are left in the world after all of this crap.
Hopefully not many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Never really understood that because, like, the amount of time that it takes to make a vaccine is insane. Like,
I mean, the
like
whole
5
thing,
to 15 years, right?
Yeah, it takes a long time to make a vaccine and get it approved.
And most of it is like
trials.
straight up regulation. Yeah.
No, yeah, it takes a lot.
Clinical trials and approval.
It takes a lot.
Like with the only exception being the flu shot because they just build off of it every year, right?
Yeah, they base
and
it
the
off
fact that
of
it's
the
a
previous
necessity.
strain, and they assume.
Yeah.
I've looked at like previous strains years, and yeah, this year's a strong strain that they're giving because they don't want people getting the flu. They put like 4 different strains in, but typically, yeah, it takes a few years.
You guys get your flu shots yet?
Yep.
I haven't got mine in a long time.
Yo, what you doing, man? Get a flu shot.
Yeah, you really should, actually.
I'm honestly convinced that I already got COVID before because when it was like, we were still in the office at this point in March when like it was going crazy, and like the three days before we got like sent home to work from home, I was in contact with like because that's when the stock market was dropping like 1,000 points every day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's when like it was very busy. So I came in contact with, I think we calculated it in 3 days, like 160 people. Like I was like,
Oh my gosh.
didn't shake their hand, but like they came into the office. They were like
close enough.
3 feet from me, and then like so the first couple of days we were working from home, I was like I got sick. Where one day I was like achy, I had a very bad headache, and then like
that's the common symptoms.
Yeah, like a day and a half later, I was fine, no headache, I wasn't achy anymore.
Interesting.
So
I mean, I probably also had that same issue. They had, since we had to close our institution. I work in the dorms, and so they had us basically helping out where they could. And I spent a lot of time in the office, and people were dropping off keys, and it was a lot of interacting with people.
Yeah. Well, then you have it, Sean. Then you say you got it.
I think I did.
I think I did as well.
I was going. Well, I was going with Alina to work back then because my school had already went online
at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mount Sinai was like the first place that got cases. Okay, so for
like
those of you that don't know, my ex works at Mount Sinai, and that first week, when my school decided that we're going to test the online procedures, just in case Governor Cuomo decides to shut down all the schools, I was like, okay, I'm going to go with you to work, and we were in the metro, and the subway, and in that area, that general area. So I feel like I might have got COVID. I had like a bit of a sore throat for a little while, but I wasn't sure if it was just a cold or not. So, yeah. She got tested for antibodies and she had them. She had the antibodies. I got tested for antibodies and it came back that I didn't have antibodies, but I think it was a false negative.
Yeah. Also, we don't know if you get antibodies after having it yet. And we don't know how long those antibodies last for. So you could have had it without developing enough antibodies to go for like over the threshold of the testing. Well,
even Dr. Fauci was like, hey, I don't really think that makes any sense. Like, for any disease, you get some form of antibodies, at least for a little while.
Yeah, so, but it's a new test for antibodies, and it might not just, the threshold with the amount of antibodies you had might not have been high enough with what is necessary to detect antibodies, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, back then, like, the amount of false positives that were coming around for COVID tests were, like, very, very high.
Yeah,
like, I think it was a 50%. Yeah. And since then, testing has gotten better.
Yeah. Oh, I would know.
Nobody really knew what they were doing back then.
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely gotten a better handle on giving these tests, and now there's like the swabs that are you can do on your own, or saliva tests. There's a bunch of new tests.
So, Mike, tell us about the stock market. How does that work? Because I have no clue how the stock market works, and I've never asked you.
So, the stock market is basically just like when you turn on CNBC or the news and it has the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500. Those are just all companies combined into one, and then the Dow is like I don't even know how many companies are in there, to be honest with you. I should know, but I don't. But it's all companies, so it's like Apple, GE, Amazon, all that stuff. They add the stock prices up, and then that equals like 27,005, whatever it's trading at. So when you see the Dow go down like 1,000 points, the Dow is not a stock itself. The Dow is just like an index tracking all the stocks. So when the Dow is down 1,000, that means like all the companies, all that are in there, majority of them are down for whatever reasons. So that's what that is. And then like the stock market is, I mean, it's not. People think it's more advanced than it is. You just buy, say like, oh, I think this company's going to go up. I want to buy some stock. You go to a TD Ameritrade or a JP Morgan Chase or Charles Schwab. You open an account and then you just, buy whatever you want and just track it. I mean, it's all these like experts out there on the stock market. There aren't any experts on the stock market. I mean, no one knows if it's going to go up, down. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it's basically just a way for you to own, in parentheses, own companies. And then if they go up, you profit. If they go down, you lose money. So it's almost like gambling, but it's like a more
gambling.
Yeah, it's a more like, less frowned upon gambling.
Yeah. See, know things about financial things that I could probably never understand, and I'll know things about science. It's okay. We've all got our things.
Yeah. But I mean, it's stock market. It's all just trends. So if you just look over history, like people want to say like, oh, what's this stock that you invest in? Like there is no stock. Like, yeah, you could put money in stock and it could double overnight, but it could also go to zero overnight. Mm-hmm. So there's no, you know what I mean? So the higher the risk of the stock, the higher the reward. The less risk, like bonds, the lower the reward you're going to get. So like on bonds, you're only going to get like 1 to 3% conservative, but if you go in an aggressive portfolio, you might get 10 to 11%, but you also might lose the money. So it's like it all equals out.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff you can do out there that's just not like all you gotta do is just Google it, and you could just read one paper, and you can kind of get a gist of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna switch completely on this topic, but Sean teased me about this a few days ago when we were talking about having you on, and he was saying that it's an interesting story about how y'all like re-met in high school, and I want to know this story.
Middle school.
Sorry.
Middle school.
Like I know, obviously, we grew up in the same neighborhood, and I knew your sister, and you guys were all friends, and so that's fine. But apparently, there's an interesting story behind like the re-meeting.
It wasn't really that interesting. I mean,
oh, so now you're selling yourself.
It was just
so so basically like we were friends when we were younger, and then maybe like lost connection for I don't know what, Sean, like maybe like 3 or 4 years. I mean, how old are you?
Threw the garbage can at my head, I think, right?
What?
I remember that.
Is that what happened?
I don't remember. No, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember either.
So, when did we meet Peter?
Peter?
Yeah.
You met him first.
Did I?
Oh, yo, we should have Peter on.
Oh my god.
You know what's going on with Peter?
Peter's disappeared. He's gone. I don't even think he's alive anymore.
I don't even know where he is. Like, he doesn't talk to any of us anymore.
I try to text him and be like, "Hey, what's going on? You should come back to, we should all get together," and he just never answers.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like ashamed of his life now. I don't know.
Oh boy.
But
yeah, I don't really think he made it or anything like that. I think he tried going to RVCC, which is our local community college.
Yeah, he was always
and I think he dropped out.
He was always kind of like a floater type of kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so
Mike threw a can at Sean's head.
I don't know. It was a can. Was it a can? I thought it was a soccer ball.
I don't know. You told me that's what happened. I don't remember. I don't remember.
But regardless, we lost connection, and then we're in middle school in the gym, and I'm sitting. We're in those. What are we in those lines or whatever? Or like our assigned seating on the gym floor, and he's sitting like a little bit behind me and to the right, and then we just start talking and whatnot.
Right.
And then, we just started hanging out after that. We just talked during gym, and then we started hanging out. And then we started, that was when we were, 14? It had to be 13, 14. And then we just started hanging out in the neighborhood. And then it evolved to sitting in Sean's car and going on rides when we didn't have our license. I remember that. I still remember one time
in our area, though.
We took the Mazda, and we drove it on. Yeah, and we drove it on like Dukes. No, it wasn't Dukes, but we drove it on Dukes, and then we went to 206. And I remember I was driving. Me and Sean didn't have our license on. Like, we didn't have our license or permit or anything at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I floored it, and then I floored it, and there was a cop, but like I didn't go past. I went above the speed limit a little bit, and I was certain he was going to pull me over. I was like, "Oh no, Sean, we're screwed." And then I was going to make up an excuse like, "Oh, he wasn't feeling well," and whatever. But we got lucky. But we would drive around the neighborhood. People were probably like, "What are these kids doing?"
Yeah, you guys also used to go to the on road and do soccer there, right?
Yeah,
common thing.
And we used to do it at night. We used to take his car and then blast the light. And
the one thing I very clearly remember was Sean falling into a river in the middle of winter.
What's going on?
I remember that.
Sean,
I
just remember he came home. It was an interesting time. I don't even know the story. I know when he came home and he was sick.
Yeah, we were at Anvan.
Hello.
And we went back, by the, how they have like the little lake or pond or whatever it is, and then you keep going back and it turns into like a little stream. We walked back there, and it was all frozen. But Sean went on a piece that was kind of like half frozen, so it was on like a block of ice, and the left side gave out, so the right side went up, and he was trying to climb up the ice as it was falling, and he just fell right into the water. Yeah,
it was just January or something, right? It was very mid-winter.
Yeah, we got in the car and blasted the heat right away because his whole leg was frozen. That was scary though. We used to go there with our friend Ian. Mm-hmm. And then because in the winter it would just freeze. We'd walk on the lake or whatever, and it was scary because you'd walk on it and you'd hear a little bit of cracking. I don't know how deep that is. I only assume it's probably 4 or 5 feet deep, but You never know.
Can you guys hear me?
That was scary.
Gosh. I think we lost Sean for a second, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. He's not. Oh, is Sean back? Oh no! Now he fully left. Oh no! It's fine. Not as important.
Technology.
Yeah, be like that. But that was like high school. You guys, I don't know if did you guys do baseball together when you were younger, or?
No, I don't think he played. I don't think is he on?
He did?
I don't think he played baseball.
Yeah, I'm on now. I did play baseball for a little bit, but
well, like young, right?
Yeah, young. Were
yeah,
you ever on the
very
same?
young.
I know that they had like I don't know how the football did it, where they did like the teams, but I don't know how the baseball worked. I know Sean did it for like a year or two. I have the photos.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, you might
I
have.
was actually pretty good at football.
It was t-ball, right?
Yeah, it had to have been t-ball. We're like,
man, what did I miss? I got disconnected.
Oh, we were talking about how you fell into the pond.
That Anvan.
Oh my god, seriously?
Yeah. It was Anvan, according to Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a fun day.
I was just saying scary, how I remember you like coming home like soaked, and Mom just yelled at you. But I didn't actually know like what you were doing, so now I know the full.
That was when I lost my foot, right? Like that was how I lost my foot. Like I just lost it that day, and my hands.
Yeah.
You know, and half my fingers.
Well, because remember you were walking on it, and I was telling Monica how the left side of the ice kind of like gave out and went in the water, and so the right side went up, and you were trying to climb up. You were trying to like climb the ice thing, and then you just fell in.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And Sean was like running.
And they had to amputate.
It was. I remember. I bet it was like a slow motion just falling in.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was super slow motion.
Sean was like, we gotta go right now. Oh, that was funny.
You did some of the most dumb things I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, we did some stupid
stuff.
We
tried climbing that tower in Anvan too.
No, to this day, I chickened out. Because I remember one day... No, go ahead.
Did you know about when Sean like was selling Coke illegally at the school? Not like the drug Coke, but the drink, like Coca-Cola.
Not Coke.
Not Coke, the drug.
Selling Coke illegally at the school, Monica. What are you doing? I have to pass the character and fitness soon. What are you doing?
Okay, I should clarify.
Coca-Cola.
The Coca-Cola drink. It was like the ones that are in the glass.
Coca-Cola, the company.
It was the ones that are in the glass containers.
Not cocaine.
It was the Mexican one, right? Like the old school
Mexican Coke. Yeah. I was selling that illegally at the school.
Sean, saying Mexican Coke totally helped your
El
case.
Chapo over here.
Okay, wait. Did you know about that one, Mike? Did you know when he did that?
Yeah, he was obsessed with those Coke cans or the bottles for a while. The glass bottles.
Yelled at by our parents so much. You guys should have started a little like
It's like double the price.
Oh my god! Yeah, you we're making some money off of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff back then.
Yeah, you really did. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you guys told me about, because I was just like, you would come home and like Mom and Dad would yell at you for the dumbest shit the two of you would do together.
Well, I remember one time we were hanging out at Sean's, and I tried to do chewing tobacco, and I mowed your lawn.
Oh yeah.
I mowed your lawn, and I had like a big one in. And when you're mowing the lawn, you're kind of vibrating, so you don't feel like the dizziness and the nicotine kicking in. And the second I turned off the lawnmower, I was like, I was so dizzy. I had to go home. I took the can, I threw it into your backyard, like into the woods. I was like, Sean, I gotta go home. I gotta go lay down. And then I hated that. That's a lot.
And then you tried to find the can.
Yeah, to see if it was still there.
Yeah. Was it?
I don't know. I couldn't find it, but it's probably. I mean,
probably the deer found it.
Yeah. Or the many rabbits.
Getting relaxed off of chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, you guys did some dumb things.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
I'd like to say you're past all that now, but I doubt it.
We were always outside. We were always outside doing something. Yeah. We were never like. Well, we would play like Call of Duty a lot, but like other than that, we'd go outside and
play Monopoly a lot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'd have like a lot of bets.
Risk? Yeah. No. Oh my gosh, Sean still does the bets. That's nothing changed.
We do bets. We do like a trifecta. We do like, all right, we're gonna do soccer. We're going to do goal scoring, and then we're going to do distance. And then after that, we're going to play Call of Duty. We'll do all the maps, and then we'll play Monopoly. And it's like whoever has the most wins at the end has to buy, like, we would go to, like, Dongs or King Wing or something like that. And then the person had to buy, or Sal's.
Eat some Dongs.
Yeah. I can't believe...
Some low-hanging Dongs.
I can't believe Sal died.
I know.
Yeah. I never messaged Angelica either. I feel kind of bad now. I forgot completely.
Well, I don't know what I think he was. I think because I saw pictures of him, and he just looked so skinny. He probably weighed like 100 pounds. Like he looked like so skinny. So he probably had.
What cancer did he have?
I don't know if it was cancer because he still had his full head of hair and everything looked like his face looked normal, like hair wise and stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe he had something else. But
yeah, when I heard that, I was like, "What? Like Sal's not that old."
Yeah, he was cool too. I mean, Sean, you know him better than I do, obviously, but.
Well, I used to work for him.
Yeah.
So Sal owned the local pizzeria in our neighborhood, and I was one of his delivery drivers for most of college.
Many years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was a good dude. He was a really good dude.
Yeah. The amount of pizza we got for him.
He was from Sicily.
He would even give me some pizza every time I'd come in there.
Oh my god! Yeah, if he knew who you were, he's like, "All right, have a free slice." It's like this is great.
Yeah.
Especially like if it was like later in the day, like what time they usually close? Like say like 8 or 9 or whatever it was. We'd go there, and he'd be like, "Hey, what do you want? I'll give you whatever you want." I was like, "How many?" He was like, "Yeah, as much as you want."
He was very sweet.
He was cool.
He always sent Sean home with some random pizza. It was, oh my gosh, we had so much pizza while Sean worked there.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Allegro Pizza before Sal's was there?
Yeah.
No, not in the slightest.
No.
I remember it, but they were not good.
Yeah.
Well, then afterwards, after Sal sold the place, it wasn't so good either. And I continued to work there for a little bit, but the dude he sold it to was a complete asshole. So
didn't you end up going to his son's place after that?
I did, yeah. So I quit, and they heard about it. They heard that the guy was just mismanaging the place, and they called me up and were like, "Hey, if you want a job working for my son in Raritan, which is the town next to us, then you got it." So I worked for them for the remainder of college.
Yeah, you worked, I think, in high school a little bit too, right? Or was it mostly college?
No, I believe I started my freshman year of college working for, I think for Sal.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember
pizza
anymore.
driver.
It was a long time though.
Yeah, it was a long time. It's funny though because like after I quit, the dude, half of his staff must have walked out of him or something because he ended up calling me back saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. Do you want your job?" And I was like, "No, fuck off. Get out of here."
Yeah. But I mean, we have a lot of pizza in our place, but I mean, Sal's was truly the best, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I loved his dishes, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
he had good food.
Must have been some like.
Yeah, it wasn't just pizza too. He had real good food.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the marsala. Oh my god, the marsala was delicious. It was so unique compared to.
Yeah, you used to get that a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was a nice guy. He was really nice. Yeah. Well, I don't even know how long ago it was at this point, but it was pretty recently that he passed away, right?
I don't know.
I think it was. It had to be either August or September.
Yeah,
I want to say probably September.
Yeah, because I feel like I was at school when I heard about it, and I don't even know. I think it was Mom who texted me saying that like you got a text message, Sean, or something from.
Well, I heard from Mike, and then I told Mom and Dad about the situation.
Mike, how did you hear about it?
Well, he saw it on Instagram or Facebook or something. I think I saw it on Facebook
afterwards, but.
Yeah, I just saw it on Angelica's. She posted stuff like that. But.
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean, since then we've been like trying to find a place. I think we started going to Joey's, right? But it's not the same.
Joey's is pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Lenny's is good. You guys ever been to Lenny's? Right by.
A few times.
No.
I like that's where my parents go. Yeah, pretty good
think
pizza.
we counted. I think me and Nicole counted it out, and we have like 17 chain pizza places in Hillsborough.
Yeah.
So like with the chains, it's like over
20.
there's
a lot of pizza places in Hillsborough. Yeah, this New Jersey living.
Yeah, literally.
Pizzerias on every corner.
Yeah.
You don't have to go far.
Yeah, I miss New Jersey
half our
pizza.
town is Italian, so.
Yeah, literally. I mean, hey, make it good here.
All right, so before I forget, we got to talk about the election a little bit.
Oh no.
A little bit.
We got to get that in.
No, we'll do a full election.
Oh yeah, we'll get a lot more out of it
breakdown
next week once election goes down. But
well, then so not going into it too much. Then what are your give me a little brief thoughts.
Brief thoughts.
Just brief thoughts.
You can go first, Sean.
I want to hear Sean. I haven't really talked to Sean about it.
Yeah.
Just brief.
What are you talking about? When we were just talking about it the other day?
Well, like barely over text, but I want to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, in 2016, I voted for Gary Johnson because I didn't really like either candidate, and I didn't want to vote for somebody just to vote against somebody else. Since then, I've had my mind changed, and I actually think that Donald Trump has been doing a really good job, and I voted for Trump this time around.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned about the state of the nation right now. I don't really like at the end of the day, like whoever wins on Tuesday, it's like it shouldn't matter as much as it does. You know what I mean? Like the way people react to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's gotten a little out of hand. And
well, people think that like the world's going to drastically change either way. Like when's the last time a president was elected besides Abraham Lincoln, and like the way of life, changed that much? Where like, I know personally for me, like I'm still going to go to work. I'm still going to go get something to eat. I'm still going to wake up. You know what I mean? Yeah, taxes might be a little different down the line, whatever. But like I'm still going to be able to go outside, go out to a restaurant, drive home, do this, do that, go home. You know what I mean? Like for the majority of it, like. And the people are making it seem like, oh, if Trump wins, then, it's going to be like, 1940s Germany type of thing. It's like, it's not going to be like that.
Or conversely, if Biden wins, then we're going to have an era of Stalinist policy. And it's like, I don't see it. I mean, I'm a little concerned about the radicalization of certain elements of American politics, but I'm actually pretty concerned about the radicalization of certain elements of American politics. But at the end of the day, it's like one of the reasons why the radicalization occurs is because normal people are just not looking at politics in the same way that it used to be. It's like things have become more extreme in the way we talk and converse about this kind of things. I mean, it's like, just yesterday I was in a group. I was talking to my group chat, and I had mentioned that I voted for Donald Trump, and my friend who I've known for 7 years called me a racist. And it's like,
yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Yeah,
I had my mind change over the course of 4 years. It's like I didn't vote for Trump originally, so your strategy to change my mind back to not voting for Trump is to call me a racist.
Like that's
what I'm talking about.
That's so the fact that like, and that's the whole thing with all these protests and everything. It's like they're making it seem like, oh, like, so for example, I'll give you a little. So 2 weeks ago, a student was killed at Ohio State. It's actually from New Jersey. He was shot and killed at a frat party, and the person who killed him was black, but it didn't even make the news. Or if it was reversed, it would have made it. You know what I'm saying? Like not all people say like, oh, like, so there's a restaurant called Condado here, and they don't serve and they don't serve cops. They haven't served cops for the past few months. Like how stupid is like just because one cop does something. You understand, like 98, 99% of cops.
Yeah, but I also think.
But you're not sitting.
But I also think that they have a right to not do that. Like, I think depending on like where your demographics are, you have a right to. I mean, yes and no, because then it's like you can take it the opposite way and be like, well, if someone did that to someone who's of color, they'd be considered racist. But so like,
let's be clear. Monica voted for Joe Biden. Is that correct, Monica?
Monica's not going to say who she voted for. But
really, Monica.
Yes.
No, it doesn't matter.
Well, you're going to have to next week when we do the election episode.
What Monica can say, what Monica will say right now is Monica is an independent registered voter.
Yeah, I'm pretty aware of that, and like I said, like I mean, I'm registered as a Republican, but I was a lot more conservative in college than I am now. I'm a libertarian at heart, right? And I view myself as a center-right moderate. So. And I'll give you an example. Like, if Tulsi Gabbard had won, I probably would have voted Democrat for the first time in my life. Because I'm not Trump's biggest fan, but I do think he's improved over the course of 4 years. And I do like some of his policies. So it more meshed with me than Joe Biden. But again, my concern isn't really who people voted for. My concern is the fact that people take this stuff so personally.
Yeah. And that's
like it's an attack.
So it's not even. It's almost like not even.
Yeah.
it's not even like a regular. So it's not like Obama versus McCain. It's not like Obama versus Romney, where it's like, oh, we're just going to vote for whoever, and if they don't win, like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, like we'll deal with it. Like I feel like this is like different in the fact that like, well, I mean, so the thing with me is like I can see both sides. So for example, Trump is not. His policies might be good, but he's not a good leader. Like he's not a good role model. You know what I mean? Like you don't want your kids to, you want your kids to grow up and be like more like Obama than as opposed to Trump. Whether you agree with what Obama did or not, he's a very good, like, you know what I mean? He's polite. He knows how to speak. He knows how to convey messages. But like Trump.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
I
Gad
would say
Sad had a good episode about this. If you guys watch Professor Gad Sad, who was a Lebanese Jew who escaped the Civil War because he was going to get killed. And what he said was, it's like getting drunk off of the wine cork. It's like you have a politician who says everything and does everything right, so you like him based off of their personality.
Yeah.
And you have somebody like Trump who comes in, he's bombastic, and he kind of lies about like grandiose things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the
what I was
biggest,
going to say is his rhetoric is what's most dangerous about how he is.
But then it's like people actually ignore his policies. And it's like, it's one thing if you dislike his policies. It's another thing if you dislike his personality.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I was at 4 years ago, where like I didn't like his personality, so I didn't want to vote for him. And it's like, I'm willing to kind of look past that. But I agree that's not a good look for America, for our governments, for our people, even to have somebody who acts and talks like Trump. I mean, you definitely want somebody who's a little bit more presidential, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the term people
use.
That's
that.
But you shouldn't vote for somebody on the basis of that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you should vote for somebody because you believe in what they say.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, Trump's not presidential. He doesn't like when he goes and speaks on the podium. It's like, he doesn't speak like he should. But it doesn't mean that, And I think about Joe Biden. I mean, so Joe Biden can do that, but I mean, I feel like
Joe Biden's kind of losing it.
Yeah,
I think Kamala Harris can definitely do that. Yeah. I think Joe Biden
I just feel like
was not the best candidate.
Yeah, I feel like they could have picked. They could have picked somebody better. You know what I mean? Like a younger.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was Tulsi,
it's like.
If it was Tulsi, I would have voted for Tulsi.
Yeah.
Even if it was Andrew Yang, I would have had a hard time choosing between Trump and Andrew Yang. I don't really like most of Andrew Yang's policies, but I do think that he would have made a good leader.
Yeah, he's concise. He's a good speaker. Yeah. He you know what I mean? He's not like.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, then again, it's not just the president. It's the administration. It's everybody else around him as well.
Of course.
But
Of course.
But still.
So, Mike, are you registered in Ohio now, or do you still have your votes counting for
Jersey? I mean, so it's going to be.
The thing about Jersey is that we're always blue.
It's going to be Biden, but it's.
Yeah.
Not that I mean, to be honest.
Ohio is a flip state, though. So.
I mean, for me personally, it doesn't. I could care less who wins. To be honest with you, it's not really gonna. I just care about how the country's going to react. That's like my. That's like my biggest.
I'm more worried about
like the riots and
the
stuff.
State of mind that people are in right now. Well, okay, here's the thing. I would have never voted for Biden just because the far left is threatening riots if Biden isn't elected. Like, that's not a reason to vote for a candidate, just because somebody's blackmailing you to vote for somebody.
Yeah.
But my concern is the fact that this is even on the table in the first place in the United States, that like you'd have the far left or the far right threatening to do little fights and riots here and there because of who gets elected. It's like, we're not supposed to be about that. We're supposed to be about cooperation and modernism.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Are we though, Sean? We built our country off of throwing tea into the water and starting a war. I think you think we're less from the beginning, like, extreme about our things, but I think America was founded on some very extreme, like, reactions.
Well, at the time, classical liberalism, which is what the founding fathers were, that was an extreme position. Like, so you're right about that. I mean, it wasn't an extreme position in Britain because these kinds of thoughts were already being. Well, okay, I don't really want to go too deep into this because I do want to talk about this kind of stuff.
You don't have to go too deep into it.
Yeah, but like now it's like this is what we should be striving for: is individual liberty and sovereignty. That's kind of what America is about. It's like respecting people's rights. And
well, it's not even so much like it's not even really so much the candidate. It's just about like I feel like it's just bad timing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got the George Floyd thing, then you got the coronavirus. You know, you got all this stuff happening, and it's just like
and
it's creating all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and let me get something straight here. I do believe in police reform. You know what I mean? I definitely think that the way that policing is done in this country is an issue. Do I think that we have the worst police force in the world? Absolutely not. I mean, go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go to North Korea. But that doesn't mean that we can't change things.
Well, I feel like they just need.
Yeah.
Obviously I listen to a lot of podcasts and like I hear a lot of like even Navy SEALs talk about it. It's like they're going into a country where like you could walk into a door and you can just get blown up, and they have to follow rules of engagement that, you know what I mean, they have to do.
Yeah.
And like a cop, you're in like chances like someone could have a gun and shoot you, but like chances are it's not going to happen. Like the Navy SEALs are they're clearing houses where there could be bombs, people with AK-47s, and they don't, you know what I mean, they don't shoot unless they're it's like a threat and all. So it's like the Navy SEALs were saying, it's like the cops just don't have the training. They just need more. It's not their fault. They just need more training. You know what I mean? Like they just need to have more training on like, okay, if this happens, this is how you have to de-escalate the situation. You don't just shoot. You know what I mean? It's
at the end of the day, that's the job that they sign up for. Yeah. Is like as a police officer, you're going to get yourself in those kinds of positions.
I think the main thing people want out of police reform is the fact that police are considered first responders for a lot of things they don't need to be, like mental health crises, and there's just a lot of things they don't need to be first responders for, and I think that's what people are looking for.
Yeah, because I definitely think there was a proposal that hey, we should have more social workers answering these
like mental health calls.
Yeah, if a social worker is protected by a cop, it shouldn't be the cop's responsibility to de-escalate. Like the social worker can go with the police, and the police will be there to protect the social worker as the social worker tries to de-escalate the situation. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to at least look into.
Yeah, it is
100%. I think the police does a lot more in their job than they really should.
They definitely do.
Like their primary job is to stop crime and protect individual liberties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, from other people who wish to interfere on it. Their primary job is not to de-escalate situations.
Yeah, I think
like they shouldn't be trained for that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of situations they shouldn't need to be available for. Like they're not meant to. They shouldn't be the first responders to that, or if they go into that as a first responder, they don't need to be armed, kind of thing. Like I think that's the big issue.
I mean, I think maybe arming with more non-lethals like tasers and rubber bullets might be a better idea. But I don't know because I'm not really an expert on this kinds of stuff. I mean, I've seen a few videos from both sides talking about what we need, and like I don't really know what the right answer is. I do know that we need to actually look into it seriously and not simply say, oh, all cops are pigs, all cops are bad.
Yeah, you can't look at it that way.
We need to defund the police completely. You know what I mean? Like, because like let's be real, like, there have been like leaders in the black community coming out saying, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Black Lives Matter. We don't want the police to be completely defunded. We just want them to change because we need the police.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, I'm seeing it from like I obviously get what you're saying, Sean, like, and I'm seeing it from like being on a college campus. I don't see why the police officers need to be carrying guns with them, going to like the library just to like look, or going to like get Dunkin' and get coffee. Like they're armed when they do that. I don't think there's a need for that. Like obviously we live in a city, and we've obviously had some situations in our area where there's been some students that have been hurt from community members, and in general, like our campus is kind of on the border of a not so safe area, and I get that, like, if you need to respond to some sort of threat, that's fine, go get your gun, like, that's fine, but they don't need to be carrying it 24/7. I think that's the big thing, especially because my campus is very diverse, and people get, kind of, it's just not a popular, it's not really fun to see that on our campus, like, people don't really like that, and there's so many cops on our campus, it's unnecessary.
I think that a police officer carrying a weapon is probably, that's within their job description. If they are trained properly in how to use it, I think that that's what they should be doing. I mean, in police circles, to be disarmed is kind of like it's an insult. It's like tantamount to.
I think you can carry
a
weapon, but keep it in your car if you're just gonna go and grab like a coffee. Like, there's no need to can carry it 24/7. Especially like they come and do lockouts for us. So like students that get locked out, like you don't need to be carrying a gun to go let a student into their bedroom. Like, what danger are you expecting on that 5-minute walk? You know, like you need an ID to get into the building.
The theory is like the danger could happen at any moment, so it's better to have it with you.
I know.
I don't really know. Like that kind of a situation is like, you know, you're looking at like an environment that generally tends to be, you know, non-violence.
Yeah.
Like it's not a college campus is generally safe. But like the point of having a police officer around is you kind of want to feel safe knowing that they will do something.
Yeah.
In case, you get raped.
Just
you know,
in case
like
something happens.
Yeah, but I think like you said, they could carry like non-lethal weapons and it still get the same, like you know, protection across that idea.
Probably be a better option.
Yeah, I mean, like if you need to respond to like an active shooter, that's a different story, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, and there has been responses on our campus.
The thing is though, PCP.
What?
PCP, man, you keep going even if you get shot several times. Like that's the real thing. It's like the fact that PCP exists. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I get it. We've had active shooters on our campus before. Yeah. It has happened. Obviously, in that case, you know, if you're trying to disarm an active shooter, you need to have a weapon like that. But for the majority of time on a college campus, that's like hard to get into. And it's like not really easy. It's not like in the middle of a city. It's like a pretty close campus.
Well, it depends on where you are too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Personally think that most people should learn how to actually own and operate a weapon, because you know we have that right in this country.
Yeah, but just because you have the right doesn't mean it's like you need to do it. Like it's not like a requirement.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not a requirement. You have the right whether or not you want to do it. But I think that most people should get familiar with a gun and understand how it works, so that way if they choose to carry one, you know, they would be better protected in case of emergencies.
Yeah, but you realize most people don't want to carry. I would rather be
walking around with a gun than without.
You realize most people don't want to carry a gun, right?
That's because most people haven't actually shot a gun.
Yeah,
like,
and not everyone wants. Like speaking on my own terms, I
yeah.
don't want to learn how to shoot a gun.
Oh.
I think you should, Monica. I mean, I think it's worth it because it's a life-changing experience to
I would disagree, but
to hold that thing.
I would disagree.
Well, some people, I mean, some people are just uncomfortable with it. You know what I mean? They just would rather... Like, when I would go into New York, you'd probably know this, Sean, I'd get off the train and in Penn Station, and there'd be... I don't know if they were National Guard, but they'd have freaking machine guns.
Yeah, like, what's the point of that?
Walking around in the uniform, they'd have
what's the point of that?
Well, that's Penn Station, so if something happened, there's a bunch of... But, like...
But, like, what is that, like, large weapon going to do in a small, confined area? You need to be carrying, like, a pistol, not, like, a machine gun for that.
Well, because a pistol doesn't exactly have the kind of stopping power that you need if somebody is.
I mean, yes,
straight
but like,
up gonna run at
what
you.
really? What? Why?
You think that a pistol is like one hit and then you're down. It's like it doesn't work that way. It's like if you have adrenaline pumping through you, man, you need something large to put somebody down.
Yeah.
Something large or something that shoots fast. Like it's not like a one shot and you're done.
Yeah, I mean, especially with especially if you're getting adrenaline, like. I was listening to a podcast the other day. There was another guy that was a retired Navy SEAL, and they said that when they'd be in combat and whatnot, and they said it was the type of ammo they were using, like green tip or whatever, and then they said like some of the Al Qaeda or Taliban didn't even know they were getting shot. Like they'd shoot them to go, and the bullet would just go
hyped up,
and the bullet would just go right through their body, and they wouldn't even know they're getting. And then obviously, like a minute later, they just fall to the ground, and you know, because you can't get shot 100 times and keep going, but like.
Adrenaline is a crazy thing. It's a crazy phenomenon. And then, like, if you combine that with a drug that alters your state of body, state of mind, state of body, like PCP, man, you can just keep going.
Yeah.
You can just keep going. It's like tasers don't work against people with PCP.
Yeah.
Unless you just get shot in the head or something and then you just drop. But, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, like, that's an impossible shot when somebody's running at you. They tell you to aim for center mass.
Yeah.
The center mass is large and it doesn't move.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like legs move, arms they flail, and the head is a small target, but center mass is large and it doesn't move. So you want to put somebody down, especially with somebody running towards you. You know, that's where you aim. and you got to keep shooting. That's why, like, these police reports come out, and like these people have like tens of rounds in them. It's like when that happens, it's because the police are trained to just keep shooting, because if they get up and they start running at you and they're crazy, it's not going to take one round to put them down.
Yeah.
You kind of do have to overkill, and it's sad, but like that's just the way it is sometimes. Obviously, like any death is sad. Taking a life is sad. You don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's you or them.
Yeah, it's exactly. Sometimes it's like, well, do you want to go home and see your family, or do you want to, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a shitty situation to be put in. I mean, if you're overseas and whatnot, like, it's different. But if you're shooting a civilian, that's, maybe a little, that sucks. Like if you're getting shot at by a freaking ISIS guy or whatever, that's like, screw that guy. But like, you don't feel bad when you kill him. But like when you kill a guy that's run at you with a knife or whatever, it's like that guy didn't really need to die, type of thing.
Well, it's like I work with clients that have PTSD from the post 9/11 wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and believe me, this kind of stuff, even if it's like a crazy Taliban, ISIS, Al Qaeda guy who like doesn't care about you or your family, your country, is just looking to kill, he's clearly your enemy. He clearly doesn't share the same values as you. It's like it's still taking another life, and it still affects you in this kind of way that alters your mind.
Well, that's true. Because like if you
people have to live with this.
If you think about like the only difference is like they were born in a different country than you were. Like if they were raised, like if you that same Taliban guy, if he was raised on Van Zant Drive with your family, he might not think that way. He might be like just a normal guy who's working in a desk. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it's just the way that you were raised. You know what I mean? Like at one point he was a kid. He was born. He was a 1-year-old kid that like didn't know what war was, didn't know what a gun. You know what I mean? So it's like.
Yeah, it's because these people were raised under different values, and that's what it is. It's like that's why I'm a little apprehensive for the future in this country. It's like people don't realize that the kind of values that we have in Western society, like they're not all completely evil. Like we're raised to think that somebody else is just as human as you are. That they have all of the same rights, that they are inherently born with all of the same rights that you are.
Yeah, and the thing is
like that's not necessarily the same in other parts of the world.
But the thing is like some people, let's say for ISIS, for example, some people probably know they're wrong in what they're doing, but they have to do it. But like some people, like they think they're right, like they think that they're fighting for something that like they believe in. You know what I mean? Like
it's amazing how ideology just brainwashes a person like that.
Yeah, but we can go into it on all sides. We can go into that on all sides.
Yeah.
Like you see that similar.
Oh, I'm talking about all ideology.
I'm saying you see that similar ideology here in the U.S.
Well, that was a hardcore libertarian. I can tell you that shit brainwashed me, and I had to pull myself out of it. So
yeah, I mean, you see it here.
And I'm talking like Taliban, ISIS, those guys. I'm not talking about Islam, the religion. I'm talking about Islamism, the ideology, and there is a difference. And they are intertwined, of course, but one is a political ideology and the other one is.
Yeah, I know, but you also see it here in the U.S. with like very fundamentalist Christian groups. So like, they might not be as violent,
but
and I know some groups are,
course,
but
I don't really understand why you need to deflect. I'm talking about all ideologies. I think there's a difference between the religion itself and an ideology that's centered around the religion. So fundamentalist Christian groups they're not like the mainstream Christian groups. Mainstream Christian groups don't necessarily believe in that kind of crazy
nowadays,
shit.
no, but in the past we've seen, that it is.
Yeah, I mean we've seen the aftermath of when, like, I mean the 30 Years' War, for example, would be, and obviously people point to the Crusades, but I would think the 30 Years' War is a bigger example of when ideology consumes a religious dogma, and I think we're kind of seeing the same crisis in Islam right now. So
it's just the extremists. I mean, you see people who are Islamic that are nicest people you'll ever meet in your life, and then you get the people that will literally drive a car full of explosives into a school. You know what I mean? Like,
but like I said, you see it with all extreme ideology, not just like those
because it's like Jordan Peterson talks about, because ideology only talks about half the story.
Yeah.
And it's like religion, the reason why, you can grow up in a religion and grow up with peaceful values is because the religion talks about the whole story. Religion looks at all of the archetypes, their converses, and like it looks at the world in different ways. Like, for example, he talks about like the nature versus culture dynamic, how nature is chaos, but it's both life and death. So it's like two sides of the story. And culture is order, but it's both security and tyranny. Whereas like if you have an ideology like fascism, for example, they'll just look at culture and look at it from the security aspect and completely ignore the tyranny aspect.
Yeah.
And then have the same kind of religious dogma around it as a religion while ignoring the other half. So while they're ignoring that other half, that means that they're being tyrannical because they're not acknowledging the fact that there is tyranny in culture. You know what I mean? So and I would recommend to any of our listeners, check out Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, Sean's obsessed with him.
He's truly a life-changing
Sean's
kind of
truly
guy.
obsessed with him.
I love him.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. He's truly life-changing. Get his book, Maps of Meaning, or listen to his Maps of Meaning lectures. There are a lot of people who dislike him, particularly for this reason, because his life work has been trying to figure out exactly why genocides happen from a psychological standpoint.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like I was watching something
which is why like a lot of people on the far left, they call him an alt-right Nazi, and it's like that doesn't make any sense to me because he talks about exactly why the Nazis did the things that they did and why you should not become a Nazi. Yeah. But yeah, you should definitely check him out. Check out his lectures. It's life-changing stuff. It really kind of like breaks down all of this kind of these aspects of human thinking that kind of lead to these kinds of extreme thoughts, extreme ideology, and how it leads to mass murder, essentially. So,
I think that stuff is crazy. Like I was watching something on the Holocaust, and I'm like, what? Like why? Like what?
Yeah, what leads you to
what
it?
What happened? That like, do you think that was okay in any way?
Yeah.
Like,
it's insane how easily you can be manipulated into it.
There's no reason of thinking.
Yeah. It's like it's rhetoric. I mean, it's a very strong rhetoric.
Yeah, no, it is. That's what I'm saying. It's like, like Hitler was like a preacher, man. He was up there.
Yeah, people thought like you know how you see like those mega church preachers nowadays getting kind of some slack on like YouTube. That's kind of like what happened with Hitler.
That's what I'm talking about. Not religion, ideology.
Yeah,
that's all ideology.
Yeah, no, but like
not religion at all. That's only telling half the story.
Yeah, you see like a similar type of audience response with when Hitler would do like speeches.
Yeah,
it was like a kind of a cultish mindset.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's what I'm afraid of in like modern SJW narratives. It's like I think a lot of people are well-meaning and well-intentioned, but there's a lot more that it's a cult that like they have their buzzwords, they have their priests and priestesses telling them what they should and should not think. They don't listen to other forms of thought, other forms of intellectual conversation. They try to shut down conversation. It's like because they dogmatically believe in this kinds of stuff and they're not willing to hear criticism because
it's like they don't even
that's ideology.
They don't like form their own opinion. I mean, they just like hear someone say it and like, oh, like and it's like they can't grasp any other point of view. Where it's like me, it's like let's say I voted for Trump. I don't just this like. I still listen to what other people say about Biden. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense too. Like, I mean, you have to be open to like other ideas. You can't just like stick to one and then just be like, that this is all like I'm defending this and like nothing else is right type of thing. Because what that does is that's what creates, that's what creates the riots and the anger and the wars and all that stuff. It's like you gotta understand that like there are different ways of thinking all over the world, and it's like. Your way could be right for you, but like you have to, you know what I mean? You have to kind of branch out and be like, oh, I can kind of see with this person. I can kind of see why this person might think that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like once you kind of think of it that way, you kind of like see. And then now it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like people they have one way of thinking, and it's like, nope, you're not going to convince me otherwise. Like, nope, and that's not a good way of. You can't argue. You can't have a conversation with those people. That's why, like, Chelsea has a couple friends that are like, "Oh, if you don't vote for Biden, like, I'm not going to be your friend anymore." Like, well, if that's the case, then you're literally just going against what America is. You're going against. So you're saying Trump's a dictator, but yet if I don't vote for Biden, you're not going to talk to me. Well, that's kind of like a dictator mindset right there. So, like, what do you know what I mean? It's like you can't be like that. That's not you can't reason with people like that.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast is because, Monica is more on the left than I am, and we still get along, we still have conversations like this, and I think it's important for people in this country to kind of get to that point again, where, like, we can just hear each other and listen to each other. Because there are good points from everything that you can take.
I mean, you and I have good conversations, Sean, but I think if I try to do a similar conversation with our parents, it would go in a much very different route. If that makes sense.
It's possible. Well, that's why I think moderation is where people need to be. Like you can't be like gung ho for certain people. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I definitely don't like having conversations with Dad about things that we would disagree on, and we agree on a lot of things, so we generally tend to avoid that.
I can put it this way. I very much disagree on a lot of things with Mom and Dad, so I see it a lot more often, and they will, they do the whole ganging up thing, and it's a little stressful to try to converse with them.
Yeah,
sometimes, like, I know personally for me, sometimes I just try to avoid conversations like that with people because I know that they're gonna. And I'm like, I don't really to be honest with you, like, I don't really give a crap, like, what you think. Like I don't want to get into an argument and lose a friendship over something so stupid that, you know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather just not even talk to you about it. I'd rather not.
Well, that's why I'm not doing that anymore. I've made that decision over the past few months that, like, I'm going to have these hard conversations with people, because if we continue to just kind of, like, shut up for the sake of our friendships, then this problem is just gonna, it's gonna get larger. It's like the problem is people can't converse. People are afraid to converse. So I'm not doing that anymore. And it's like, if you don't want to be my friend because I voted for Trump, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, were you even really my friend in the first place if you can't respect my political opinions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I will kind of stop us there. We've been going for about an hour and a half now.
Yeah, and I know you got to go pick up Chelsea, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Sorry, we kept you a little longer than we should have.
Nah, about 25 minutes. I got to go.
Yeah.
But
we can talk all day about this stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we definitely could. Maybe we'll invite you back next week if we want to talk about the election.
Yeah.
If you're up to it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Because we're gonna have, me and Monica for sure are definitely gonna have a little election breakdown discussion.
Yeah.
And we'll get into exactly why, like the real issues of why we voted for each candidate.
Well, when are we gonna know? Is it gonna be on the 3rd, or is it gonna take a couple more days?
I think the fact that a lot of states are doing pre-ballots. Yeah. A lot of votes have been counted already, so it should actually take less time than it usually does to get a final result.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when we typically wait for like Alaska and Hawaii, we might have a lot more information from like precincts and stuff. So
Alaska and Hawaii are going to be
I'm saying, but they're usually
red and blue,
the states on the East Coast or on the West Coast, and all of those like flip states usually take a lot longer. But I think now, because there's been pre-ballots, and I think right now, like, the big thing is Texas is neither right nor left right now, which is a very interesting thing to see so close to the election with a lot of ballots gone in already.
Yeah, so is Minnesota, though. Minnesota is neither right nor left, which is crazy because Minnesota was the one state that voted for Mondale in the Reagan-Mondale election.
So
and Reagan had his red wave, and every state voted for Reagan except for Minnesota.
So
like, it's always been blue.
Yeah, so
it's pretty crazy. This is a crazy election.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting, and with everyone reporting earlier, we honestly might hear that night, but most likely Wednesday morning will be a finalized.
Yeah. Well, as the mail-in ballots come in, we'll have an idea.
Yeah, we'll
definitely have an idea by Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't really want to go into it that in-depth this time around. I know you didn't, Monica, because, like, the election is just so heated right now that I think that maybe it's just best that we all wait.
Yeah.
until everybody has voted, and then we can talk about
we can
the actual issues and stuff when things are, I guess, a little cooler. But who knows?
Yeah. So Sean, take us out. We're almost done. What are we going to talk about next week besides? Well, I guess we're going to talk about the election, but anything else?
The election. We're going to talk about the election.
It's going to be an interesting one.
Probably.
Yeah.
But maybe the week after. Hey, Monica, maybe we can have Nicole and Zach on the week after. I think that might be a cool one.
It'll be a very different conversation. Zach is
for sure
not feeling too great right now. So.
Well, yeah, he's a little amateur film producer, so yeah.
Yeah, he just filmed his first short film with the studio. So.
Yeah. So Mike, and for people who don't know, Nicole is Monica's best friend, and Zach is her boyfriend, and they're a very cute couple. I think
they just had their 5-year anniversary. Actually,
conversations to have them both on. Yeah, it's adorable.
It's adorable.
But,
it is adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Jordan Peterson on week 6.
Yeah, he'll be our next guest.
Start sending out the emails now.
Talking about my lobster daddy. Lobster gang, hashtag lobster gang for life.
All right, well.
All right. This was really fun. I think I enjoyed this. We really touched on everything.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, guys. Tune in next week. We'll talk about the election. And Red Lotus out.
Have a good day, everybody.
All right, guys.
Have a good week.
Right.
And remember to vote, everybody.
Yep.
I don't care who you vote for. Just go and vote.
If you haven't already.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for coming, Mike.
Yep. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.
Peace.